A giant brown-skinned man sauntered up the one street of the village and led out into the palmetto thickets with a small, pretty woman clinging lovingly to his arm.
Look at that, folks. There they go. Big as life and brassy as tack. Now, people, will you look at them? But that's one thing I like about Spunk Banks. He ain't scared of nothing on God's green footstool. Nothing. He rides that log down that sawmill just like he struts around with another man's wife. He just don't give a kitty. When Tess Miller got cut down to giblets on that surgical saw, Spunk Mills would ride up and start riding. The rest of us would have been scared to go near it.
A round-shouldered figure in overalls, much too large, came nervously in the door and the talking ceased. The men look at each other and wink.
Hey, Joe, how's your wife?
What?
Now Joe knew his wife had passed that way. He knew the men lounging in the general store had seen her, moreover, and he knew that the men knew that he knew. He stood there silent for a long moment, staring blankly, with his Adam's apple twitching nervously up and down his throat. One could actually see the pain he was suffering, his eyes, his face, his hands, and even the dejected slump of his shoulders. He set the bottle down upon the counter. He didn't bang it, just eased it out of his hand silently, and fiddled with the suspender buckle.
I'm gonna get her back. I'm gonna get her right now. Spunk's gone too far.
Joe laid down a nickel and stumbled out into the street.
You really oughtn't have done that, Elijah. You got the guy all worked up. I hope it did work him up. It ain't right for a man to take like that man do. Spunk will for sure kill him. I don't know. You never can tell. He might turn him up and spank him for getting in the way. But Spunk wouldn't shoot no man unarmed. That razor he carried out here ain't gonna run Spunk down and cut him. And Joe ain't got the nerve to go to Spunk with him knowing he's got that armor at 45. I like him just fine. But it ain't right the way he's carrying on with Lena. Just 'cause Joe timid about fighting. He told Joe right to his face that Lena was his. Call her and see if she'll come. A woman knows her boss, and she's answered when she calls. Lena, ain't I your husband? Joe sort of whines out. Lena looked at him real disgusted, but she don't answer, and she don't move out of her tracks. Then Spunk reached out and takes a hold of her arm and says, Lena, you's mine. From now on, I works for you and fights for you. And I never wants you to look at nobody for a crumb of bread, a stitch of clothes, or a shingle to go over your head. But me, as long as I live, I'll get the lumber for our house tomorrow. Go home and get your things together. But he didn't do anything to stop him? Nope, not a frazzling thing. Just stood there. Spunk took Lena's arms and just walked off like nothing happened. And he stood there gazing after them till they was out of sight. Now you know a woman don't want no man like that. I just waiting to see what he was gonna do.
But Joe Canty never came back, never. The men in the store heard the sharp report of a pistol somewhere in the distant palmetto thicket, and soon Spunk came walking leisurely, with Lena clinging to his arm. Came walking right into the general store. Lena wept in a frightened manner.
Don't worry. We'll talk about it when we get home. So you know, Joe, he snuck up on me from behind. And I spun around so quick and I shot him with one shot. One clean, beautiful shot. That's all it took, and he's gone. He's gone for good.
Walter glared at Elijah accusingly.
Spunk turned on his heel and sauntered away to where he knew his loved wept in fear of him, and no man stopped him.
Funny thing about that bobcat, huh? What bobcat, Elijah? I ain't heard nothing about that. Ain't chair? Well, not before last. As they were going to bed, a big black bobcat, black all over, you hear me? Black. Walked round and round and round the house and howled like 40 times. And when Spunk got his gun and went to the house, he was gonna shoot it. He says it stood right there and looked it right in the eyeballs and howled right at him. The thing that got Spunk so nervous up was he couldn't shoot it. But Spunk says 'twas no bobcat anyhow. He says it was Joe, snuck up from hell. Huh. Yeah, I've been nervous after what he done. I reckon Joe come back to dare him to marry Lena, or to come out and fight. Yeah, I bet he'll be back time and time again. You know what? I think Joe was a braver man than Spunk ever was. Hey Elijah, you gonna set up with Spunk? Nah, I reckon not. Spunk died too wicked. He died cussing. He rode that fare way too far and he just done himself a grave. Good Lord! And who you think done it? Joe. Joe Canty? How come? Walter, I believe I'm gonna go help set up. Lena would like that. But what did he say, Lash? Walter, you there? Okay, here's the story. I was loading the wagon with Scantlin right near the sod when Spunk fell in the carriage. Before I could get down to him, the sod got him in the body. Awful sight. Me and Skip Miller got him off, but it was too late. Anybody could have seen that. The first thing he said was, "He pushed me. Elijah, he pushed me." The dirty houndrel pushed me in the back. He was spitting blood at every breath. We laid him on the dust pile with his face to the east so he could die easy. He held my hand to the last. Walton said, "It was Joe, Elijah. The dirty sneak shoved me. He didn't dare come to my face. But I'll get that son of a gun soon enough, and I'll bring him to hell for good. I felt him shove me, Elijah. That is how I died." It's a very interesting story, Elijah. If spirits can fight, there's about to be a big tussle between spirits. If you ask me, I think Joe pushed him myself.
The women ate heartily of the funeral baked meats and wondered who would be Lena's next. The men whispered coarse conjectures between guzzles of whiskey.
I wonder who Lena is gonna end up with next.